Only a small number of individuals, mostly scientists, travel to Antarctica these days. Although Antarctica is the coldest continent, people live in cities all around the world and frequently experience similarly chilly temperatures. So what is the coldest city in the world? There is cold, and there is Siberia cold. At -5 degrees Celsius, the cold is rather pleasant, and all that is needed to be warm is a light cap and scarf. The fluid in your nostrils freezes at 20 degrees Celsius, and the brisk air makes it impossible to breathe without coughing. Frostbite is a persistent risk since the air will become cold enough at -35 degrees Celsius to quickly numb exposed flesh. Even wearing glasses becomes challenging around -45 C because the metal sticks to your cheekbones and will rip off pieces of flesh when you try to take them off. Yakutsk is a city where the welcoming locals advise against wearing glasses outside. Yakutsk, a small city in eastern Siberia with a population of 200,000, is well known for two things: the fact that it appeared in the classic board game Risk, and the fact that it may legitimately lay claim to the title of world's coldest city. In Moscow, the temperature has only ever reached -30 degrees Celsius once, in early 2006, and it rarely drops below a level that a warm, durable winter coat won't keep you safe from. There are several places in Russia that can boast of being extremely large, extremely isolated, and extremely cold, but Yakutsk wins the frozen prize. Even by Siberian standards, it is extreme. Although Yakutia, the area of which it is the capital, has a total area of more than 1 million square miles, there are only about 1 million residents there. Few significant towns can be found there, and it is divided into administrative regions the size of Britain, each with regional centers that are hardly more than small villages. There are supposedly enough lakes and rivers in the area for every resident to have one of each. They like to brag about having every element on the periodic table in the area. According to local myth, the creator god had been circling the globe to disperse wealth and natural resources, but when he arrived in Yakutia, he became so cold that his hands went numb and he dropped everything. Most of the automobiles in Yakutsk are used Japanese imports, which it seems can withstand the cold better than Ladas and other conventional Russian vehicles. Even yet, locals frequently leave their engines running if they must stop for a half-hour break, and some do so even when they are at work to prevent breakdowns and to make the heat bearable. The city's persistent fog is made worse by the overworked exhausts. When the Russians initially took control of the area in the 1630s, Yakutsk was established as a tiny administrative hub. The Yakuts, who are native to the area and are a Turkic people with Asian traits and a language full of throaty, mooing vowels, spent most of their time herding reindeer. They accepted Russian control with little resistance. Although few longer live a nomadic lifestyle due to industrialization and collectivization during the Soviet era, Yakuts still make up roughly 40% of the local population today, and most are still fluent in their language. Yakutsk remained a minor regional outpost until the Russian Revolution in 1917. Like many Siberian settlements, it served as an open prison for political prisoners in the 19th century. Siberia has long had a reputation as a gloomy and unpleasant area, not just among foreigners but also among Russians, in addition to its enigmatic attraction and abundant natural resources. While traveling through Siberia in 1890, Anton Chekhov portrayed a bleak portrait of life for the inmates kept there. Regarding a group of men he came across in western Siberia, Chekhov observed that they have lost whatever warmth they previously had. They have no other options in life than vodka, sluts, and more sluts and booze. They have changed from being people to becoming wild animals. But for many political exiles in Siberia, notably Lenin and Stalin, their stay there was little more than a protracted reading vacation, albeit one in the bitter cold. According to Vladimir Fyodorov, editor of Gazeta Yakutia, the leading local daily, at the time, many thought it was extremely terrible to keep people in exile like that. But of course, everything seemed relatively compassionate in comparison to the horrors of Stalinism and the Gulag. The area is rich in gold and diamonds, which is what led the Soviets to decide to transform Yakutsk into a significant regional center by first using the Gulag labor system and subsequently by resettling thousands of volunteers looking for adventure, greater pay, and the opportunity to create socialism on ice. The region is home to the corporate behemoth Alrosa, which controls the diamond monopoly in Russia and supplies 20% of the world's raw diamonds. The present winters in Moscow and Yakutsk are bitterly cold and snowy. The distinction between cold and even colder may appear fuzzy to Britons who are prone to calling any weather below zero Siberian. However, the 40°C difference in temperature between the two snow-covered cities is comparable to the difference between a scorching July day in southern Spain and the coldest day of the year in Britain. Locals are a little better at handling their bad luck with the weather. Henry Lansdell, a British traveler who paused here on his journey across Siberia in the late 19th century, remarked that Yakutsk had the credit of being the coldest location upon the face of the globe. Although the residents have grown accustomed to the cold, the Yakut ladies can be seen standing in the open-air marketplaces without covering their arms, chatting and having fun as if it were a nice springtime. The inhabitants are able to get by even if there aren't any bare arms around anymore. The market is still crowded with tenacious people selling frozen seafood, pork, and horse hearts. Surprisingly, a research conducted by British and Russian doctors in the late 1990s discovered that while illness reporting increases during the winter in Britain, it doesn't in Yakutsk. The study came to the conclusion that this was due to the fact that individuals only went outside in the cold when it was absolutely essential, and even then, they dressed appropriately. However, there is still a degree of endurance that defies comprehension. Children attend school unless it is below -55°C, and workers on construction sites continue to work up to -50°C. Below this, the metal becomes too brittle to work with, although the kindergarten gets the day off if it hits -50°C. The price of a good fur coat can range from several hundred to several thousand pounds, but it is considered to be a wise investment because it can be worn year after year. Local variations of Valenki, the fur boots that are widespread throughout Russia, are also well liked. The women's version has vibrant sequined patterning and is created here from reindeer hide. The food is a tad tastier now, but horse is still a common ingredient on restaurant menus. Being raised in bitter cold until you are old enough to be killed and made into thin slices of baby horse steak or slices of raw horse liver with spices doesn't sound like much fun, does it? Other delights include marinated reindeer meat and semi-frozen raw river fish slices, which are similar to sushi from Yakutia. The latter is deliciously mouth-watering and creates a satisfying zakuska, or aftershot snack. Additionally, the newborn horse slices don't taste too bad after a few vodka shots. During the brief summer, enormous efforts are also undertaken to ensure that the area is prepared for the arrival of winter. In order to prepare for the months when the river is impassable but the ice hasn't hardened sufficiently for a road to be built across it, villages on the other side of the Lena River, which is more than 10 miles wide near Yakutsk, must stock up. Building is also a problem due to the conditions. The largest city in the world, Yakutsk, was constructed on permafrost, or land that is perpetually frozen. According to Mark Schatz, a researcher at the Permafrost Institute in Yakutsk, permafrost spans 15% of the planet's land mass and 65% of Russia. However, the expert notes that some nations aim to avoid developing towns atop permafrost. However, the majority of Yakutsk residents don't have any immediate plans to leave and don't particularly want to. It has been home to the Yakut people for millennia, and many who arrived looking for money and excitement during the Soviet era have established roots there.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to share and click on the notification button for more of our amazing videos.